What kind of school choice advocate are you?
The New England Take.
You're listening to New England Take. I'm your host, AJ Kiersa. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you're checking us out on YouTube, and also be sure to check us out on all major podcast platforms. Huge news coming out of Concord this week. Governor Kelly Ayotte has signed 2 pieces of legislation Tuesday, one to extend the Education Freedom Account program to all income levels, and another to give families more control over their schools, delivering significant victories to school choice conservatives. So I have been full bore a supporter of education freedom accounts and expanding to as many people as humanly possible. And I've been also on the same side also when it comes to the Parental Bill of Rights, a huge supporter of it. I had Senator Dan Innes on the show about a year ago, maybe, the last time this circled around the bend. The Parental Bill of Rights has been something that's been in the queue for a long time, and no one's been able to get done. Sununu was trying to get something through. It never happened. And it's a very treacherous subject when it comes to especially the Democrats, because they have such good ammo that they capitalize on. Like, if you don't support this or that my child is doing, they're gonna end themselves. Let's just put it that way. And that is not what this is about. This is about making sure parents have the complete choice as to what they do for the educational freedom of their children and what decisions they think is best for their kids. And this is something that Democrats just gloss over entirely. And this is from NewHampshireBulletin.com. As always, all articles are down in the episode description down below. Please be sure to check it out. Read the full article. Make sure I'm staying true to what I'm saying, that this is a place where we do kind of show both sides, but I have a bent I'm looking to show here. And in this specifically, I am so grateful that we're finally having these things happen. So, flanked by children in a crowded council chamber room adjacent to her corner office in the State House Tuesday morning, Ayotte signed Senate Bill 295, which allows families of all income levels to have access to state funds for private and homeschooling expenses, and House Bill 10, which enumerates a number of requirements for public schools to respond to parental demands. Let's start with the when it comes to the Parental Bill of Rights, because this has been a very contentious subject. Democrats have always been spewing this thing where it's teachers shouldn't have to be straightforward with their parents, because if teachers are straightforward with their parents and if the kids don't have the choice to say when they decide to tell their parents that they're, I don't know, trans, gay, whatever it is they want to put forward with the current statement of the day, they're literally going to end themselves. That's blatantly been over and over again the thing that's been pointed out. Ray Buckley has definitely said that, who's the Democratic Party chair. When parents should get the truth from the teachers of their children. It is across the board. I don't care if it's something as simple as, oh, your kid didn't turn in their homework, so that's the reason why they're flunking out of class, to, hey, is my kid going by a different name at school? Which is something that legitimately was happening at the Manchester School District. This went to the courts here in New Hampshire. There wasn't proper laws to really make sure that they had to respond appropriately with it, and the local school district had things in their policies that enable teachers to not tell the truth when it came to it. So this is finally being addressed. I'm unbelievably happy to see it happen. NH Journal has a great article on it called NHGOP's Parental Bill of Rights finally signed into law. And some great details here. The right of parents to access and review all school records related to their child, including academic and disciplinary records. The right to learn about a minor child's course of study. The right of a parent to opt their child out of curricula they find objectionable. And the right to know about clubs and campus organizations their children are participating in. This is very important. I personally have things I would prefer my kid to attend or not attend when it comes to extracurriculars. And I know many other parents are the same way. And some parents don't like sports. I mean, things like that. Like, it could even be something simple as that. I want parents to be able to have the option when it comes to it. It's been the same thing, big picture, that I've been espousing forever. If you're a left-leaning parent and you want your kid to go to some left-leaning ideological school that's espousing Marxism or whatever, that's your right. You have the ability. And when it comes to the other side, there's been this huge push where you don't want your kid to go to a They don't want to be paying anything when it comes to a religious school. They don't want anything that goes outside of what the public school curricula has to offer, anything of that nature, because of, I don't know, this weird due process thing when it comes to making sure that everything is micromanaged by the New Hampshire Department of Education or the Federal Department of Education for that matter. And I've never believed that's the case. I believe parents should have a choice as to what happens. We've taken education choice seriously in this house here where I live. We've decided where our kid goes to school, and we'll dive into that at some point, but for now it's just a matter of making sure we have options on the table are so important, and whatever option you have, those teachers should have to be truthful in the responses to questions. For example, Democrats, once again from the article, Democrats have focused their fire on that aspect of bill, which is, quote, school personnel will be forced to answer any and all questions directed at parents, said Representative Peter Pecorino, Democrat of Milford, complained during testimony of the bill, and he added, quote, the policy puts children in harm's way, end quote. Democrats literally have put out there time and time again that they don't trust parents to be able to raise their children in the way they see fit, and they think the state should have that authority. And that is not what I think should be happening. I'm a libertarian-leaning person when it comes to this 100%. Even traditional families, more conservative side, they feel exactly the same way. And when you see the selections of schools that parents on both sides of the aisle have selected for their kids, this goes beyond party politics. This is a matter of whatever you think your children should be learning, when they should be learning it. Is this something maybe I should be teaching at home? Maybe it's something that I'm finding I'm not happy with what's going on, and I've been able to become an educated parent as to what my kid is learning, and I'm deciding to homeschool them or continue to have them in the public school system. I want the public schools to be great in this state. As a school choice person, I'm constantly hit on that, oh, you just want to shut down the public schools. I think the public schools are great and serve a very important purpose. They're not being handled correctly. And in some situations, that involves removing your kid from that situation and putting them somewhere else. And you can't make an informed decision on that if parents are not told about what's happening when it comes to curriculum and what's happening with your child during school when they're not under your direct supervision. Parents are the be-all, end-all when it comes to what happens with the development of your child, in my opinion. Democrats in the legislature, at least. I'm not saying your average Democrat that votes for the party or anything like that necessarily feels that way, but that's the black and white decision you've been told you have to make when it comes to politics of late. We're finally going in the right direction, in my opinion. I'm so happy to see it. And another article here from NH Journal when it comes to universal school choice, when it comes to education freedom counts. I take a little issue when it comes to saying this is offering universal school choice. This is not offering universal school choice. This is offering education freedom counts for people of all income situations. When it comes to even what I make, my day job, I'm a state employee. You can see my salary if you really feel so inclined on it. I don't make that much money, and I don't qualify for it as a family of 3 on my income. This is going to enable parents to have a little more flexibility when it comes to it's around $5,000. It does not matter your income level. You're going to be able to take that money and go to another school. I've gotten into it over and over again, especially in the Conquer Monitor Facebook posts with Nell and all these other people over there have been a little pissed off. Well, suck it up, buttercup, sort of thing. Like, do you really want families to have to suffer more than they have to in order to educate their child the way they see fit? Once again, it's the same thing. It's just now we're talking when it comes to the funding of it. And the big deal with this over and over again is you're just taking funding away from public schools. In my opinion, public schools should only be making money off of the children that are going to said schools. If my kid is not going to the public school in my district, which now he's not, that money should not follow him. It should follow wherever he's going, and we should be able to capitalize on being able to use that money to support what we think is best for our child. And my son's going to a charter school, so we're very fortunate when it comes to that, but when it comes to high school, there's no solid charter schools and right here in my community in Concord. I'm going to need to take advantage of this money when it comes to private high schools and whatever it is. private high schools might add in too, which is reinforced multiple times over the discourse of this, cost considerably less than the public high schools, and let alone the K-8 schools. You're moving from K-8 public schools are anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 a year here in the state of New Hampshire on average, and per student. And when you're looking at the private schools, like the more general ones, they're not talking about your super high-end schools like your St. Paul school or something like that. But any of the other ones, they're $10,000 to $15,000 on average. That is huge. Like, why shouldn't we support these schools that figured out a more economical model in order to educate children appropriately? Yes, we do have issues. I do believe, honestly, we need to have a better way of tracking the academic success of the charter and private schools. On the other side, I think we're not doing great when it comes to the public schools either. Overall, across the country, our schools are pretty good, which is great. There's all sorts of averages that looks into that. But I don't know how much I honestly trust the academic metrics that are being put into being addressed when it comes to New Hampshire schools. I think there's a lot of things that could be improved when it comes to it. Like I'm looking at some schools, they match the charter schools in the area, and we're constantly being harped on over and over again that these schools have no oversight or anything. You can see the scores of every charter and private high school in the state and the New Hampshire Department of Education website. It's all there. So if you're not happy with what you're seeing with the results, use the data that's there. I'm so happy to see the Children's Scholarship Fund here in New Hampshire is going to have the ability to now help so many more children. I think it was like a 10 to 20% increase in requests for EFAs with this going into effect, because now parents are now realizing, oh, I don't need to go through this back-end hassle to figure out my income makes sense on it. I can now make sure my kid is getting the state funds that are allocated for him or her to go to the school that they actually want to go to. And that's important. And we need to make sure that we do not let this get screwed up. If things do change down the roads, if Democrats do take control of the governor's seat, that we make sure that this continues to be the case. And we show that this is a nonpartisan issue, that both Democrats and Republicans, your normies that don't care about the nonsense we always post about online, are going to be able to continue to have this funding. It's always been painful to me. It's just so painful for me to deal with. I always hear the complaint, well, if you want your kid to go to whatever school it is, well, just pick it up. You're talking thousands of dollars. We're already hearing about for years now when it comes to the housing crisis in the state. People don't have thousands of dollars every year to make sure their kids are educated in the way they see fit. And this goes, especially if you think you have multiple children. Like, we have one kid here. Like, it's less of a big deal. But if you get 3 kids, 4 kids plus, that's an astronomical amount of money. So you're going to have to make the decision, do I want to have all my kids suffer? Do I make sure 1 or 2 of my kids go to the school that I think is actually going to teach them appropriately? That's brutal. That should not be the case. And this is the first step to make sure that solely is not the case anymore. This little bit that might cover 30% plus of the school that you want to send your kid to is fantastic. Now I'm so excited for it. Thank you, Governor Ayotte, for making this happen. I hope this is a success. I hope there's data here in the next year or two. This big thing. You need to wait a year or two before you really trust any of the data when it comes to this. It takes time for people to sign up, and we need to make sure this data is out there when it does happen, but you got to be sure to wait a little bit for that. NewEnglandTake.com. Thank you to the Granite Grok for posting our episodes every Saturday over on their site. Like and subscribe if you're checking us out on YouTube. And hey, we're on all major podcast platforms, so you can check out all episodes there. Audio, video, whatever way you want to check it out, including Spotify. Talk to you soon.